Hello and welcome to South Bay Sports Radio. Here's your host, Nick Ingram.
Welcome back to another episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Today, 99. I've got a 2016 St. John Bosco graduate, somebody who's had stops at two colleges in the NCAA. He's in his third year with Leuzinger. He's tabbed as the newest head coach of the Olympian football program. Please welcome DJ Morgan to South Bay Sports Radio.
Thank you for having me. Nick.
Of course. Before we get started, I want to shout out our show's sponsor, Eli Lopez Barber 2U. Eli and his team do a phenomenal job, whether you're getting ready for that next game, headed out to UCLA for that next coaches meeting, or you just need to get cleaned up. Check him out, EliLopezStyleSeat.com. He's at 25690 Crenshaw Boulevard. There we go. All right, Coach. That wasn't meant for you, but I know UCLA has been doing a lot. You come out of Bosco. What were some of the biggest schools that were looking at you coming out of high school?
So coming out of high school, the biggest, of course, University of Notre Dame, Arizona State, Utah, Vanderbilt, Northwestern, just name a few. But I had a lot of prestigious universities as well as far as academic prestige. And just Notre Dame felt like home when I took my visit there.
So you split your time. You were at Notre Dame and you were at UConn. And we talked about this before, but with UConn's program being on the edge, how tough was that for you when they finally decided to shut the program down?
Yeah, it was tough for me. Following a year where I had a breakout season, just in my time in South Bend, just didn't get a lot of playing time that I wanted. Was blessed enough to graduate from Notre Dame and then head to UConn and have a great season where after that year, it's a lot of the chatters of, are you going to try to go to the league or like, what's the next step? So then to have that year off following, a year like that, it slowed momentum down. I would say the least. Slowed momentum down, but God's plan always works out. It was meant for me to be here in this moment right now.
You started as a coach at Bellflower High School. You started as a defensive back coach and then move on to coaching linebackers and special teams. But what initially led you to become a coach at the high school level?
So initially for me, growing up in high school, it wasn't necessarily like, okay, when I'm done, I'm a coach. But just the way it was at St. John Bosco during my time there with our defense coordinator, Chris King, he would always tell us, you have to get an A in football. Like your grades, you have to be eligible, but you have to get an A in football. It can't be a B, can't be a C, it has to be an A. So I took that to heart. And so everything I did, it was always about being a very instinctual player, just knowing where I have to be on the field. And then once I got to University of Notre Dame, with the defense coordinator, Clark Lee, who's now at Vanderbilt, he would ask periodically during spring ball, who wants to be a coach? And initially I didn't raise my hand. And then he just started saying who he thought would be a good coach. And I was one of those guys. So that first got the ball rolling. And then initially I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to coach. So after my playing days were over, or as they started to end, I wanted to jump in the coaching and giving back the game that I learned at a high level and give it back to the youth and these high school kids.
You start at Bellflower under Coach Miller, but he's with his brother over there as well. When you first came to Leuzinger, what did you know about the South Bay? What did you know about Leuzinger High School?
So coming into it, I didn't know much about the South Bay. Of course, I knew of Inglewood. I played for Coach Movan when I was in high school during 7-on-7. So I knew of Inglewood, and then I did hear a lot of chatter about Leuzinger, and it was a lot of chatter where it was like, I wonder what they have going on over there. And then once I got to the program, it was like, oh, I see what's going on here at Leuzinger. And then just within my first year and hearing from coaches that were already on staff at Leuzinger, the Bay League is no joke. And then now having ran through, going through the Bay League twice, it's no joke whatsoever. Every week is a banger. It's the SEC, I would say, of public school football for sure.
I like that. The SEC of public school football. You've got Palos Verdes, you've got Maricosta, you've got Inglewood. But your role just changed. You go from a defensive coordinator to the head coach. What's your vision for this program?
My vision for this program is truthfully not to have any drop off. To keep this program rolling in these 2 years that I've been here, and from what coaches have said about the year previous before getting to Leuzinger, it's made a big jump. It's made a big jump. It's making a lot of noise, not only in the Bay League or in the South Bay area, but across Southern California. So I just want to keep that rolling, and keep developing young men and young athletes, and ultimately trying to help them reach their goals, whether that's playing after high school or not playing after high school, but just ultimately reaching their goals that they have set for themselves.
You lose a couple of players, of course, like we talked about. You lose some players to graduation: Simon Mawala, Journey Tunga, Braylon Edwards. But then there's players that you lose to transfers. And how tough is that, knowing how big of an impact those players had? And is the depth there for you to be able to continue to compete in the Bay League?
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough losing a group of seniors like that built this foundation, and then to lose, guys due to transfers and all that. It's definitely tough. It's definitely a hit. But the staff that I have put together, I believe that all of us are very well capable of building and developing players. And there is talent here. Just within this first week of practice, there's some talent here. So I'm excited to see how this all meshes together. Of course, we're just in week one of this whole build, but I'm excited to see what we put together come August, whenever our first game is.
Do you have your schedule ready for next season yet? Have we looked at what week one has in store for us?
So the schedule at this moment is not fully complete, but we're still in the works of getting our last 3 games scheduled. And we're looking for a week 0, week 2, week 4, possibly a week 8. I know that's a tough ask, but we're we're looking to put together a pretty nice schedule. So we're excited.
You played at St. John Bosco. How would you describe your time as a student athlete while playing for the Braves in Bellflower?
Yeah, my time during as a student athlete playing, there, it was awesome. It was a great experience. It was one where, of course, schoolwork is rigorous as well as the football field is rigorous. There's no days off because you may be a guy with scholarships, like instance myself. Yes, I'm the senior that's going to Notre Dame, but there's 2 guys right behind me that one went to Florida State, other one UCLA. So it's definitely competition, and I love it. And it's helped me shape me as a man as well. Just thrive in competitive backgrounds and competitive situations.
I want to touch on the academics of it. As high school students, these young men are still student athletes. How big is it for you to make sure that they're taking care of what they have to in the classroom in order to give it their all on the field?
Yes, that's one of our first main standards. We talked about standards this week. We have on the field standards, off the field standards. And one of the very first off the field standard is grades. We have a saying, no books, no looks. So if your goal is to reach the level that you want to go, if you don't have the books, you won't get the looks. So that's number one. Number two is just attendance. Attendance. We're trying to push attendance because, of course, without attendance, number one can't get done, and that's the biggest thing. So that's like our biggest thing is trying to make sure everybody not only is eligible but they're thriving in the classroom because I let them know also at one point, some point in time, football does come to an end for everybody. We all can't be Tom Brady and play till we're 44, 45. It comes to an end at some point, some faster than others. And you just want to make sure you're ready for life after football when it does happen.
Let's talk about life, falling in love with football. When did you first fall in love with the pigskin?
So I first fell in love with football back in, I don't remember the year exact. It might have been 2002, but my dad, he had bought a Nintendo GameCube, a old game, Nintendo GameCube. The very first game was Madden 2002, and I believe Ray Lewis was on the cover of that one. And that was the very first video game I ever played was Madden. So just seeing the action and all that, I was like, I want to play football. Like my goal as a kid, they asked, of course, in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would just say football player, football player. Like that's what I wanted to be, to the point where I'm putting shirts, t-shirts and stuff in the shoulders of my shirt to make it look like I have pads on. And so like I was in love with it. To the point where begged mom to let me play, begged her to let me play. She wasn't going for it. But then one afternoon, I was 10 years old. One afternoon, we're driving, me and my dad, and he sees a sign up for football with the Downey Razorbacks. Stops, signs me up, and I went home, told my mom, like, hey, my dad signed me up for football. And so she looks at my dad like, what? I'm like, that was all she wrote. From that point on, that was all she wrote.
Of your two parents, which one of those two was your biggest cheerleader?
Oh, for sure. Both were very, very big cheerleaders. Um, my mom was always the positive cheerleader. So good, bad, or ugly, she's always, the positive one. My dad, he would always tell me like corrections, different stuff like that. And he would tell me, well, as I got older, because I'd be like, dang, like I'd tell my mom, like, dad's always on me, like he's always on me. And then he told me, he's like, the reason why I'm on you and trying to correct you and help you is because I have to tell you where your flaws are. Because if everyone's telling you how good you are, you're only going to think, I only do good things. I got to tell you where you're lacking too. So that way you stay humble and then also continue to work. So I appreciate that from him for sure.
How big does that play into your coaching style, knowing that there are a lot of players, especially in the day and age that we're in, where social media is pushing a lot of the narrative where it's like, I can't do anything wrong. And there are mistakes that need to happen in order for growth.
Mhm. Yeah, no, with that, like I always tell the boys that was one of the first things I mentioned when I first got to Leuzinger, when I was just working with the linebackers and the special teams. I let them know I'll never lie to you. Like I didn't get into the coaching business to lie to kids. That's just not my get down and how I roll. I have a funny saying I say to them. I have two daughters of my own, so I didn't get into the coaching game to lie to kids. If I wanted to lie to kids, I'd go home and just lie to my daughters. Like I'm not in this to lie to you guys. I want the best for you guys. So anything that I tell you is always in to put you in position to be even better, never to put you in a position to fail or look bad.
A lot of the times I like to ask about multi-sport athletes. And I know that, especially with football, you want your kids running track, playing basketball, baseball, doing something in the off season that isn't solely focused on football. But what is your view of multi-sport athletes?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a plus, 100%. You can learn so many different, not techniques, but just like body movement, all that good stuff. Like track, for instance, you running fast on the track, that's only going to help, when it comes to football, basketball, being able to jumping with people. We had a linebacker who played basketball and played football. And that helped him like great on the football field because now he's able to run and jump with these receivers, and he's a linebacker, someone that you wouldn't expect, in a high school game to be running and jumping with some of these 6'2" receivers that, are athletic, freakishly athletic. So I definitely love the multi-sport for sure.
Touch on last year really quick. You were on staff last year. Leuzinger had an amazing run, fell short in the Division II playoffs. But what were some things that you learned from last year's team that you're looking forward to using either as motivation or for yourself moving forward?
Yeah, the fight from last year's team, there was no quit. There was no quit in last year's team. The resilience to withstand the storm, that's something that I definitely want to carry in with this team. Like I told the guys last week or during this week, sorry. At some point during a game, a play, even a practice, things will hit the fan. It's all about how we respond to when things don't go our way. We can't just tuck our tails or go into a shell, and then now it just snowball effects and it's an avalanche. We have to keep fighting 100%. And that's one thing that last year's team did in every single game. Even when the tide started to turn, we found a way to still either pull out a game or give ourselves a chance to win at the end of the game. And just may have fell short.
There we go. That will do it for Coach Morgan and the serious part of this episode. We're going to transfer into rapid fire. I've got 5 questions for you. Hopefully I stick to 5. Put the clipboard down. All right, Coach. Top 3 all-time football players.
Cam Chancellor, Steve Atwater, and Ed Reed.
DB, DB, DB.
Yes. I'm a former safety.
You get a chance to sit down with anybody in history. Who would it be?
Theodore Roosevelt, President Theodore Roosevelt.
Mr. Rough Rider himself.
Yeah.
Favorite football movies? Give me top 2.
Top 2, Gridiron Gang and Remember the Titans.
OG Gridiron Gang or Adam Sandler Gridiron Gang?
The OG, sorry, I said Gridiron Gang. I meant with The Rock. I don't know why I can't think of it now. With The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, no, I can't think of that one. That's the one where they're in jail. That's a remake with Adam Sandler?
No, I think Adam Sandler was The Longest Yard.
That's all right. My bad.
Okay.
My mistake.
No,
Gridiron Gang
good.
it is. A movie is being played about DJ Morgan's life. Who plays you?
I would have to go with who plays me. I'd have to go with. I'll go with. It's a tie between Morris Chestnut and Denzel. Denzel because great actor. Morris Chestnut because I joke with my wife. That's my lookalike. One of those two.
There we go. All right. And last but not least, your go-to South Bay eatery and your favorite dish there.
Okay, perfect. Favorite South Bay eatery, Honey Kettle Chicken in Culver City. My favorite dish there. I get their the thighs, not thighs, sorry, the legs. I'll get the drumsticks as well as the macaroni and cheese, their biscuits, fries, all that. Yeah. Definitely a go-to. Yeah,
Honey Kettle
definitely a
Chicken
go-to.
in Culver City. There we go. Coach DJ Morgan, thank you for your time. Good luck to the Olympians in the future, and I will talk with you soon, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having me on, Nick.
Thank you. All right.